Hello everyone. Welcome to SIUK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with the University of Bath. We have James, Medha and Saurav with us today who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start. Over to you, James.
Thank you, Deepika. Hello from sunny Bath. So welcome to today's webinar, which is all focused on enhancing your employability by studying at the university. So my name's James. I work in the postgraduate team at the university. I'm delighted today we've got two special guests, two panelists who will be joining to share their thoughts, insights with you too. To kick things off, Medha, it's great to have you back on the panel after a short hiatus. I know you're now working, so you're only with us today for about 15 or 20 minutes, so we've got to make those minutes count. Maybe just a brief introduction to kick things off.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Medha, and I'm originally from India, Delhi. I did my master's from University of Bath in MSc in data science with placement here, and I graduated last year in 2021. Out of my placement year, I was working with Bosch Germany, and I was fortunate enough to get a full-time role also working as a data engineer now with Bosch Germany.
Perfect. Thanks, Medha. We'll hear lots more about your kind of journey to Bosch in a moment. Before then, Saurav, if you'd like to also just introduce yourself. I know you're just rounding off your first year of studies here at Bath, so maybe a brief introduction would be great.
Hello, everyone, and I'm Saurav, studying MSc Data Science at University of Bath with a placement year, and I am even from India.
Perfect. What a coincidence. Lovely. Great to have you both here today. We're going to just quickly show you the agenda and then dive into the presentation. So just to let you know what to expect, there will be kind of three key parts in the agenda and then a Q&A. We're going to start by having a chat with Medha from Bath to Bosch, and then we're then going to look a bit more about how the university can enhance your employability, and then just more generally look very briefly at the UK graduate recruitment processes and things like that, just to offer you some guidance. As I mentioned, Medha's only here for the first 15 minutes or so, so if you've got any questions you want her to answer, please do try to ask them early on during the next section, because that will be really the only opportunity. If you don't get a chance to do so, fear not, because Saurav is here till the very end to answer any questions as well that you might have. Perfect. Let's start then by focusing in, first of all, on Medha's journey from Bath to Bosch. So this one is a special segment, just focusing on you really, Medha, and spotlighting kind of your experiences. So I suppose to kick things off, maybe a little bit about what you were doing before you came to Bath, and then why did you choose the University of Bath?
So before I joined Bosch, I have working experience of 4 years. I worked into data warehousing, majorly into ETL process and stuff. And I have worked with Infosys and then TCS. So I could learn how to build the data, but I wanted to move forward to actually figure out what should I do with this data. That was the reason I chose data science. And for Bath, of course, I had several offers from various universities, but I chose Bath because of the curriculum we have at University of Bath for data science. I could not find all the domains of the data science covered in any other university. Other than that, of course, the university is a very beautiful place where it is located, Bath. I don't think many people know about Bath. Even I was one of them. Back when I heard about Bath, feels like a weird name at first to sound. But for sure, it is a UNESCO World Heritage City, the entire city in itself. And even now, like after moving to Germany, whenever I see any Roman architecture somewhere, I always try to go back and compare it with Bath, because Bath is a standard for Roman architecture for me now.
Nice, lovely. So did you do that research before you came then? You kind of explored a bit more about the city, explored the course first, and then looked around at the location?
So it was a very quick offer to actually joining for me for University of Bath. It was roughly a span of 28 days from getting my CAS letter to actually joining the university for the first day of my class. So I did not have much time to check about the city, but for sure I checked the course. And also we had amazing professors whom I check, because when you try to move for masters, you always focus more on the research the university is doing, because that is, of course, some of the field or domain you would like to grow and also understand at the same point of time. So we had an amazing professor from MIT who actually was teaching me reinforcement learning. She did her PhD from MIT, so it was a great start for me. But of course, I researched some of the environment, I would say, in Bath, because Bath is a very small city, but at the same time, I think Bath is the reason I've started falling in love with staying in the small cities, because it's not too crowded. At the nights, I will say it's very lively because you have students all around, because it's like a student city. But at the same time, in the day, you have all the tourists. So even though it's a small city, it's not very isolated.
Mm. Perfect. I'm glad you enjoyed living in this city too. As we go through, Deepika, do let me know if any questions come through you think are relevant for this part. I'm more than happy to kind of cover those in this section. But Medha, I suppose the focus of the presentation is primarily on enhancing your employability. So in terms of the course itself, once you'd started at Bath, how did you find that the course helped you to kind of focus on your future as well as the program itself? So how did it help you to look forward to kind of your next steps in your career? Did you find that there was much support there for you, and how did Bath help?
Of course, the course in itself is amazing. As I already mentioned, that it covers all the domains of data science a person would like to know, because many other universities offer a course which do not include everything. So the course in itself is perfect, I would say, but at the same time, it's very tedious to follow the entire coursework and do all the assignments and have exams, and at the same time try to apply for jobs. Back when I was doing my course, we did not even had this post-study work visa. It was introduced during our placement year. So we had a bit more of a struggle, I think, in terms of COVID being hitting, and also at the same time trying to move from tier 4 to tier 2 sponsorship, which is kind of easier now for the transition, as I see. But for sure, the course is perfect in terms of finding the job. The only thing required is to do your own efforts, and at the same time try to figure out what kind of role you would be interested in, because data science in itself again offers you many roles. You can go into machine learning, you can go into reinforcement learning, you can go to other kind of stats, or even any other domains. So again, I would say, like, from the start of the course, just try to grasp the feel, like what are you more interested to do in, and that's how you can apply for any particular relevant job to your profile and also for your interest.
Perfect, really interesting. And I suppose your course, just to be clear, has a placement year, which just translate it across is kind of an internship year. It's not for master's level. It's not just data science. There's also machine learning, autonomous systems. Some of the psychology courses have a 1-year placement. Other programs in different faculties like engineering have a shorter 3-month placement option as well. So it's a real focus at the university to give students the chance to engage with companies and actually apply their studies directly into practice. And we'll cover a bit more of that later on. But Medha, just from your perspective, how do you feel the placement helped in terms of kind of getting you ready for the workplace? Obviously not in the UK because you're in Germany, but perhaps in Europe. Did you find the placement was a kind of a helpful stepping stone towards permanent kind of, or employment afterwards?
I would totally give the credit to University of Bath, because the placement, or it's like an internship of a fixed period I applied to, was advertised by the university and we could not find it in Google. So of course, the entire credit goes to the university in terms of finding the job. So for the placement year, you always get a dedicated placements team, which is separate as compared to the careers team, which of course I can still use being an alumni. But for sure, the placement team prepares you from a placement point of view, like what you should expect in interviews, how you should give your psychometric test or any other kind of test the process would have. But also at the same time, the company also understands, because you are quite early in the process and it's just first semester and you're already applying for placements. So even they understand that you would not have a very deep knowledge of technical side. But yes, so I worked as an data scientist and AI intern with Bosch. So it's not like you're just making coffees or getting photocopies or something, but for sure you get the real actual work to do. And You even have to give presentation to the universities at the same time. So it's like a mix, integrated blend of still keeping in touch with the university, but at the same time doing your placement year and learning all the things. And another advantage it has is like it is a definite 1 year of placement, so you have a definite time, so you are even free to explore any country, any other domain, or whatever you thought that you would like to work on. So even if you don't like it, it's just 1 year long, and you can always go back and move to other area of interest.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So it's a good time for like exploration without the pressures of kind of, it being the expectation, I suppose, being there as well, that you're a permanent member of staff. It's perfect. And then in terms of, I suppose, then actually working at Bosch on that placement, your experiences, did you find, you kind of touched upon it there, did you find that it really kind of helped pave the way for your position now? So did you learn a lot? Did it teach you new skills that were really important to then securing a permanent position within the company?
For sure, yes, because again, turning a placement year into a full-time job back when we used to apply was a very big challenge because of the visa sponsorship and stuff. So you definitely need to prove yourself, but also at the same time, even your communication matters, because the non-technical skills are something which no one can teach you. You still have room to grow for technical skills. You can learn, and anyhow you have to learn and perform every now and then, because the technology keeps on changing. You can't be really adamant when it comes to working with the technology at times, because it is sometimes the call of the hour. But also at the same time, you should also focus majorly on your non-technical skills, which university again helps you to do the same. You can just book your appointments with the placement team to prepare for your mock interviews, and they even help you with preparing for how should you enter the room, how should you sit, how should you greet them. So basically, literally from every down scratch of the thing experience you get with the university's careers team and also the placements team.
Lovely, perfect, nice. And then I suppose you did your 2-year course, you graduated, so you did your placement year, completed your 1-year master's as well, your taught part of the program. Did you find afterwards that it was difficult to find a permanent job? Obviously, you're now at Bosch in Germany, but before then, were you applying for many positions? How did you find that process? Because I'm sure many people watching today are keen on working perhaps in the UK or in Europe after graduating. So how did you find the job market, I suppose, with a Bath degree after you graduated?
For sure, Bath holds a very good reputation when it comes to working with the industry. Many students and many normal people would not know Bath, but don't be disappointed, because if you go and speak in every industry, everybody knows Bath. I think that is because it is the top 10 of the UK. But yes, I mean, it has an amazing value, but at the same time, you should really focus on what you want to work on and which kind of domain and environment, because rejections are endless. So I never looked at my rejections. I just kept on applying and waited for the position which would just land in my place. So just keep on doing your efforts and don't be disheartened by the rejections, because doing the course, and even since international students also like to do some part-time works and things. But again, I would recommend that you should get in depth and you should get accustomed to the environment and also your course before you start working for a part-time position. And once you have everything in control, because even for jobs, you need to start applying from the moment you join, kind of updation of your CV and your cover letter. And generally, the university pushes you to do that, all of that within 1 month of joining your course. So again, it's a bit of a struggle because the course is really, really hectic to complete.
Yeah, it's a bit of a balancing act to kind of get your CV in shape and try to acclimatize to the course as well at the same time, I can imagine. Perfect, nice. And then so now you're obviously at Bosch, so you decided Bosch is the place to go, and they obviously welcomed you back with open arms. Who can blame them? And since then, how is it going? Just to wrap things up, really, because I know you've got to get on with your working day out in Germany. So how have you found it so far, working there now permanently?
It has been quite good. The first good was the English environment, because my team is quite international and diverse. And surprisingly, we do not have any German in our team, being working in Germany. So it's kind of good. But and generally people think of it as a mechanical field or automotive field, but Bosch has even software sector, which is quite growing, and definitely I'm working with all the newer technologies out there.
Nice. Yeah, I can imagine. I suppose these days is a bit of a, even the automotive industry is relying quite heavily on computer scientists, data scientists to make the modern car. I say that with very little knowledge, but with confidence. That's the main thing. Maida, I know you have to go. I don't know if any questions just lastly have come through Deepika that you feel like are relevant, but if not, we'll just give it 30 seconds and then I'll relieve you of your duties. You can go and answer some emails or go to your meeting. I know you've got some things planned. So I don't imagine there's much come through yet. So in the meantime, I think thank you, Maida, for kind of stopping by, taking time out of your busy schedule. It was good to see you again, and hopefully speak again soon.
Thank you for having me and letting me speak as an alumni now. It has been a good pleasure, and of course, University of Bath rocks.
Nice. On that note, I'll leave it. Perfect. Thank you, Maida. It's a delight.
Take care.
Speak soon. Bye-bye. Lovely. Right, we're going to keep going now, and Saurav, I'm going to bring you in parts because I know you're waiting in the wings to share your experiences too, just before you head off and do your own placement year on your course. So just a bit at this point, I suppose, to highlight kind of what we've been talking about in that discussion about how Bath, kind of what the focus of the university is, I suppose, the ethos of the institution. So here are some of the key aspects you'll find embedded within all of our courses at undergraduate and postgraduate level, and that's focusing on international connections. So looking at, for example, international companies that we work with, but also encouraging students with different perspectives to join the programs, and also finding that academics come from all different parts of the world, again, bringing their own types of research and kind of skill sets with them. Employment skills is embedded in all of the courses. So many courses, for example, in engineering, just to name one faculty, has employment skills, kind of one-to-one guidance from some of the careers experts actually embedded into the course curriculum. But you'll find that across all courses at Bath. Real world experience, whether that's a placement like we've just heard. Saurav, I know you're off to do a placement very soon too. So again, a real world experience where you can apply your studies in a company, in a business, gain industry experience, or whether it's doing short-term consultancy style projects in the School of Management, doing practicums in the International Development Department, and so on. So there's loads of different ways in which we can help you to engage with the real world to ensure what you're studying has real relevance. And then leaving work ready is kind of the key part at the university. We're really focused on allowing students to kind of not just focus on their course, but leave with the skills in place to then go off and apply it in the real world by gaining a job. We are currently ranked in the top 100 worldwide, globally, for graduate employability. And from the very beginning, we've always had this focus on bridging the gap between academia and the world of work. So within our chartership, it actually explicitly states that the objects of the university shall be to advance learning and knowledge by teaching and research, but in close association with industry and commerce. So this is not like a new thing we've just started trialing with these placements and so on. It's something that we've always been proud to offer students from the very foundation of the university. And then in terms of kind of how we can support you, and I'll bring you in a second, Saurav, from this part, is there's many different ways. So Maida in that kind of chat just then did highlight a few of the ways you got help. So it's the careers teams and so on. There are company presentations. Depending on your course, you might engage with different company leaders who might come and give talks about opportunities in the company, or just also give you more information about the industry at large. Then there's also careers fairs that take place twice a year in Bath. There's industry insight events as well, where you can either go off and see how companies operate, again, depending on the course you're looking to apply for. Online resources in abundance, whether that's CV guidance, whether that's helping you online, one-to-one guidance, appointments online, or whether that's using our other resources to help you prepare for interviews. We've got it all covered in the careers team. There are also workshops that you can join to help you go through the recruitment processes. We can help you practice with interviews like Maida was talking about just earlier, and assessment centres, just helping you to really adjust to the job market in the UK or in Europe too. Then there are also alumni events, continued support afterwards. So we have over 100,000 graduates like Maida who are within our alumni network, and we really encourage you once you finish, not just to leave Bath behind, but stay in touch and continue to make networks with graduates and current students alike. Just very briefly here, Saurav, is there anything you'd like to add in terms of any support you feel you've received in the time you've been here so far? So obviously you're only about halfway through your course so far because you've got one more year to go. But is there anything that you'd like to kind of share at this stage?
Yeah, I think I have received almost all of these, in the course of finding an opportunity. Because I have attended a few career fairs conducted by University of Bath and other career fairs in Bath also. And one interesting thing that was conducted by University of Bath, except for career fair that is not mentioned here, is called speed dating, where you can directly interact with the CEO, or suppose in my example, the lead data scientist of the company. And you get 15 minutes each, like 15 minutes for the company to explain their goals and targets so that you know whether you want to work for them or not, and 15 minutes for yourself to convince them that you are really capable and like you are the perfect candidate for that particular role, which is actually a very new concept that has started. And because alumni, the Bath has a very good alumni network, we really find it great going for speed dating events.
And are they organised throughout the year? Because actually that's new to me as well. I hadn't heard these before. So is that something you do throughout the year, or is it something that is just during the careers fairs, for example, in the autumn and spring?
It's not part of career fairs, but it is organized, I think, 2 times in the year. And there are extensive amount of emails sent from the career team with a complete list of companies that are participating, so that you can have your own research and go to the speed dating event.
How many companies would you say you've personally engaged with at these speed dating events?
I was interested in 3 of the companies in speed dating event. And one of them was founded by one Bath alumni member. Which was really interesting. And then it generally works out great, because then, as you know, in UK, the application process is quite extensive. But through this events like speed dating, you cut short few of the application process, like sending an application, then waiting for them to give a response. So you directly get down to the technical and other interview processes, which actually saves time also.
Yeah, I also quite like the fact that, they're also pitching themselves. Sometimes everyone forgets that actually it's a two-way kind of interview almost when you talk to companies, because at the same time they need to convince you. It's not just them, giving you the Spanish Inquisition. There's actually a two-way process, and it sounds like that's been highlighted in the speed dating.
Yeah, it's really important for the applicants to know whether they would love to work for the company or not. Otherwise, if you get the job, it won't work if you don't love the values and goals of the company.
Yeah, perfect. Good advice there, I think, as well. But we'll come a bit later on. I'm sure there'll be some questions perhaps as well about the careers and things like that. So we might come back to that at the end to find out more about your experiences there, Saurav. But that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing. Just a little bit more on the support here, kind of touching upon bits that we covered there, but just to kind of hammer home kind of the role of the careers service, because again, I know looking for work in the UK or looking for work afterwards is a key concern or key focus point, perhaps is a better word, for you when you're looking to study in the UK. So Bath has loads of different ways that we can engage with you, help you to connect with companies and to enhance your employability. One thing is obviously joining clubs, societies, getting involved in activities, extracurricular activities whilst in the city or whilst at Bath. And so I do encourage you to join those to boost your CV and just give you a more rounded experience as a student as well. But also for those who've got perhaps an entrepreneurial flair and you want to start your own business. So I've just briefly mentioned there that one of the alumni from Bath who I've met was actually who's now launched their business. Perhaps they used the Set Squared focus in the city. There's a Set Squared scheme or Set Squared competition where if you want to launch your own business, we can kind of help you to do that by joining a competition and kind of giving you the right tools and knowledge and know-how. So if you wanted to, afterwards, you can indeed go and start your own enterprise. Getting a part-time job might be a concern. You might want to work part-time, you might not want to, but there are opportunities in the city on campus if you want to do that. So again, gain experience, but also earn some more money too. Internships, placements, we've talked quite a lot about so far, quite extensively. Undergraduate courses, all of the courses have the option to do an internship, a placement year. And as we mentioned, there's loads of different ways in which you can get placement opportunities, engage with companies in different capacities, depending on the course in question. And then obviously the key for really all of this, the crux, getting a graduate job afterwards. There's careers fairs kind of scattered across the university. There's a School of Management Careers Centre. There's also the MBA Careers Centre. There's the university-wide Careers Centre. There's loads of careers experts across the university whose sole purpose is to help you in securing a job afterwards. And they're very good at what they do, which is probably one of the reasons we are top 100 in the world for graduate employability. Perfect. So that's just kind of an all-round kind of bit of experience. Just a bit more about our master's degree specifically, and just again to really highlight the different ways you might be able to talk with companies. So I've given a really good example with the speed dating. There's also the placements, obviously practicums, practice tracks, which are the consultancy style projects you can do in most management, business school, MSc courses, but also in other programs in different faculties too. Visiting companies, getting guest lectures, doing a company-sponsored dissertation as well for some programs. So what you're doing in your dissertation, you can link directly into the workplace. And then there are also extracurricular opportunities. The business school, for example, has different challenges you can do where you engage with different types of companies throughout the course, which are optional, non-guaranteed and optional, to help you again enhance your kind of CV and perhaps also help you afterwards in your goal of finding work. I'm going to just also, I think, skip over that because we've kind of covered the practice track in quite a bit of depth, but just do know about it. Do look on the course. If there's a practice track option, there are a growing number of courses that offer that, and that's that consultancy style project which you can embark on. I'm just going to pause here. This is just to let you know this moment before we go on to just very briefly look at the how to apply for a job in the UK. This is just the structure of the university, and just to highlight the different departments. Obviously, the business school, School of Management, has all the marketing courses, the generalist management courses, finance, things like that. Computer science sits in the Faculty of Science, so that's where you are, Saurav. And then you've got humanities, social sciences, and engineering. So lots of different courses we offer. So if you want to have or find out any specific details about a course you're interested in, then please do ask questions in the Q&A, and we are definitely going to answer as many as we possibly can. Okay, and we're going to here just very briefly look at the UK recruitment process. It might be slightly different to what you're used to. There are quite a few hurdles you have to jump through in order to secure a placement and actually a full-time job as well. So you have to apply online, you have to go through different tests depending on the job in question. So it might be situational judgment tests, it might be numerical tests, verbal tests, and so on. So there will be tests involved normally, but what kind of tests they are depends on the role in question. And then there normally is a video interview session or section to the interview process where you actually send off a video talking to the webcam. And if you're then successful, you'll go to the assessment center where again, you'll be interviewed. You might have to do more tests. You might do some exercises in a group or individually. And then if you do all of that and you shine throughout, you normally will be made a job offer. Now, as I said, larger companies often have more rigorous processes like this. Smaller companies might be a little bit, there might be a fewer number of steps in order to secure a placement or a job. But that kind of just gives you a real snapshot of what to expect when entering the UK job market specifically. Saurav, you've just secured your own placement, so congratulations. I know it's obviously not a full-time job, but still, I know it's very competitive to get a placement. So well done in managing to do that. Maybe at this point, just share your own kind of plans where you're going to go, and then we'll also go into the steps you took to get that placement.
Yeah, so my steps were very much similar to what we can see here.
Okay.
So basically, I went for an online application where there were a few questionnaires, like why do you want to join the company? Why do you think you are fit for the role? And apart from that, obviously, we submit a CV and a resume. I mean, CV or resume and a cover letter. And then post that, if you're shortlisted for the next round, there is a test. There are new ways that these days companies have started taking tests, and especially in my case, apart from situational, numeric, verbal, and logical reasoning, there was one more round of test, which was like you were given few games, and then you have to play those games, and on basis of that, they will check few things like how good is your memory, how are you able to do multitasking, and things like that. And in most cases, the companies give a very good feedback after the test round, before they decide whether you're shortlisted or not. So you will also be able to know if you're going wrong somewhere. And after that, obviously, I had given my video interview, and post that, I had two rounds of interview session. In the first round of interview session, I was actually given a task, where I did the task and I solved the problem that they have given. It was a mixture of coding and research task. And then I presented them the outcomes and the process that I went through. And based on that, finally, I received an offer from the company. So that was my experience, and it is more or less around the same. And in few companies, the last step may be an assessment center, in which you have things like group discussion and maybe an individual task like I did. And sometimes they want you to do the task live, and sometimes they can give you a takeaway task, like they just send you a mail before 1 or 2 days, and then you just do it and then present yourself, what happened in my case.
Nice. And then just, I don't know whether you've already shared where you're going to head to and what you'll be doing for the next year.
Yeah, sure. So I have received an offer from Unix Traffic, which is a Siemens business, and they specialize in intelligent traffic systems. So I am going to join as an IoT engineer for Unix Traffic, and my placement is going to start in August 22nd.
Perfect. And then I know you're kind of in two minds at one point about whether to do a placement year or just go straight into the job market. Obviously, not all courses have the option anyway, but what made you kind of decide the placement was the right option for you in the end, rather than just going on to look for a permanent position?
Yeah, there are a few factors. Like, as most of us know, that data science is a very diverse field. Sometimes, though I was already working for Accenture for about 2 years, I had some kind of experience, but not in the field of data science. So it's really important for you to gain that experience. And one other advantage that I will have is, like, I will still have the PSW of 2 years after I complete my placement year. Yeah. Because the placement year does not consume the PSW time, and it is part of the student visa. So, which is really great. Like, if you see in a, like, as a summary, it's really great that you are gaining that 1 year of experience in the UK in your own field that you want to work. And then you also have the 2 additional years where you can work full-time in full-time roles. And one other thing that placement year is going to provide me is, like, I can really access the company, and I can know if the company is really suitable for me. And as Medha said, it is really difficult to convert the placement year to full-time roles, but as long as you're preparing well and you are giving your best, I hope that there will be, like, if you think logically, there will be no company who would be willing to waste a resource which they have invested for 1 year. So it's a both way thing. Like, the company has also access to you, and they will obviously scrutinize on how you are performing. Also, you can check whether the company suits you or not. Yeah. So that is one thing, that additional advantage that I will get.
No, I think you're right. Again, it's almost like one long speed dating session. You're both trying out, seeing if they're right for you, you're right for them. So no, I think you're applying sensible logic there. That's really great. Thank you, Saurabh. We'll keep going to wrap things up, and then we'll hit the Q&A in a second. Thanks for sharing your experiences there. Just as a key point for everyone just to note, because I do speak to Indian students a lot who are heading to the UK, and I think there is sometimes a bit of confusion by the process and the difference in process in terms of applying for a job. So I know in India that it's very commonplace for companies to come to campus, interview you, and then we'll offer you a place. So there's that kind of seamless transition from campus life to the workplace. Now, just bear in mind the UK, just not Bath specific, but UK wide now, it's not the same. So in the UK, companies, depending on the university, the connections of the university, the companies might come to campus. At Bath, they do come twice a year. Huge companies like SMEs, all types of organizations will come to campus at these large career fairs, and they'll meet with students who are looking to go into the workplace. They will then showcase opportunities, and then you as an individual are kind of autonomous and going away and applying for those opportunities. Where Bath comes in and is very strong is in supporting you through those processes. So it's not that you're going to be interviewed on campus, but you'll be able to find out the different opportunities that do exist on campus and then get the support, tap into the careers team and the support on offer to help you then go and apply for the jobs that most interest you. So slightly different in the UK to India specifically there. So just wanted to highlight that as well, to hopefully clarify something there. And also placements in the UK doesn't mean career or doesn't mean graduate jobs. It means internships. So when someone says placements, I know in India, often it means kind of a graduate role, like a graduate job after you finish your studies. Just bear in mind that placements means internship really here in the UK. So just to clarify a few things there, because there is sometimes some confusion around those 2 points.
Just to add,
please.
A small difference between internship and placement.
Yeah.
Because there are a few roles which are open for internships here in UK as well. Mm-hmm. So the difference in internship and placement is part of the course always.
Yeah.
And it is for mostly either, like it's generally for more than 6 months. But whereas internships are generally for short durations, which is about 3 to 4 months. And it will not be part of the student visa course in most cases.
In most cases, yeah, it is important to make that distinction. Yeah, and we do have some 3-month placements, but yeah, usually you're right, they are a bit longer. They're normally about a year or 6 months at least. Thank you, Saurav. Yes, so just kind of on this point of placements, let's just go back quickly. So some courses do have an integrated compulsory element, like Saurav was just talking about there. So where it might be an undergraduate program, for example, business administration, there's a 6-month placement in the second year and a 6-month placement in the third year. Postgrad level, let's talk about engineering. You've got a 3-month optional placement. Data science, we've talked about quite a lot today, a 1-year-long optional placement. And then there's also optional kind of practicums, which are a type of placement really in other courses in the Faculty of Humanities, Social Sciences, for example. The MSc Public Health course is a good case in point. We do provide a lot of support. This has been covered in quite a lot of depth by both Saurav and Medha today, but we do provide lots of support with that. So we can offer you practice interviews, one-to-one meetings with the team. And as Medha said at the outset, that there are different teams. So there's the placements team for the faculty, and then there's the careers team, which will help you more looking for your permanent position. Top tips, just to wrap up this point really, is get involved at the start of the course. Again, this has been pointed out by both of the panelists today. Try to get going straight away to kind of, hone your CV, get thinking about the job market, because you don't have that much time whilst a student at Bath to kind of get everything in order, get your ducks in a row to then apply for jobs. Medha did point out earlier, and it's probably worth highlighting it again here, that the career support at Bath isn't just for your time as a student, but also as alumni. So it's a lifetime of support. You can come all the way into retirement age if you wish. We'll still be here for you. So we're not just there to help you. So say you stay in the UK for 2 years on the post-study work visa. After 1 year, you want to change job or you want to apply for a new position, maybe a promotion, then you can tap back into the careers team to ask for that support. They can help you with your CV and so on. So just keep that in mind too. Get involved in extracurricular activities, really nice, really helpful, whether that's a part-time job, a part-time position, or whether that's also get involved with societies and so on. There's lots for you to do outside of the classroom, which can also then help you in the long term when you go to look for a job. And apply early if you can. But again, it's not always possible given the time frame. Perfect. Some final thoughts here. So get them all on the screen. So final thoughts, I guess, as we wrap up about Bath, and then we're going to head over to the Q&A with a nice amount of time to spare. So just key points here really to summarize what we've talked about today. Practical experience, graduate employability are defining features of the University of Bath. And like I said, they have been so since our foundation. Since we were founded, we've always had that focus on employability and real world practical experience. There are lots of activities you can get involved in to help you have fun, of course, but also to develop your skills. And then we have lots of different ways in which you can engage with companies, whether it's corporates, SMEs, startups, charities. Depending on your course, there's challenges you can do, internships, placements, lots for you there. And then the support is at both faculty level and university-wide level. So there's lots of support there, placement-wise, but also in terms of helping you to secure a permanent position when you finish. Lovely. Right. I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. Now I'm pleased to say we can open it up to Q&As for me or for Saurav. Fire your questions through and we will be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, James and Saurav, for such a wonderful presentation and sharing your knowledge with us. We are now moving towards the Q&A session. The first question: how much time a student will get to take admission in the UK university?
Do you mean how long is the application processing time?
Yeah, from the start till the admission.
Okay, so once you apply for a course, it can take up to 6 weeks for an outcome to be received for your application. So about 6 week processing time. So do factor that in, particularly if you're looking to study for 2022, get your application in as soon as you can, really.
Thanks, James. The next question: what are the university's facilities like? Is the library open 24 hours a day?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so Ralph, would you like to say this one about university facilities, since you've been using them more than I have?
Yeah, the library is open 24 hours a day. And also, apart from libraries, there are many study spaces which are open. And there are few study spaces even in the city center, which is out of campus in the Virgil building. And just to add one more thing, that is the career support team also provides support not only for jobs, but for other things like applying to a PhD programs and things like that.
Good point.
Thanks, Saurav. The next question: hi, James. What tips do you have for students asking their teacher for the letter of recommendation?
So letter recommendation is a really nice way for us just to get more of a kind of a rounded view on you as a student or perhaps as an employee, depending on who the referee is. So if it's an academic referee, then normally we just want to see how you've performed in the classroom, but also it's better they paint a bit of a picture about your personality as well as a student, as a candidate. So have you got involved in discussions? What's your presentation skills like? It depends on the course, obviously. It might be we're looking for technical skills. So perhaps the referee could highlight your ability to perhaps, crunch numbers, or perhaps use different languages if it's computer science, or whatever it might be. So I think it really does depend on the course in question, but as long as they're painting a positive picture of you as a candidate who's perhaps eager, keen, with perhaps some extracurricular activities that you've been involved in that can make you stand out, that's all excellent. Probably just also on this point, if you want to meet your English condition with your 12th standard, for master's courses and for undergraduate courses, we can accept 12th standard. For masters, normally we need 75% in English at 12th standard and proof that your degree was taught in English. Then you don't need to take an IELTS. You might call it an IELTS waiver. So if you're in that position, you could also ask your referee just to mention that English was the medium of instruction throughout the course in the reference. We can accept that to help you to meet your English conditions. So that's something you might want to include as well when going out to your referee.
Thanks, James. The next question: is there any advantage to submitting my application early?
I would say one advantage is that you will kind of have that peace of mind that the courses are going to close. So, for example, as the year comes to an end, the cycle comes to a close, courses do begin closing, particularly at postgraduate level, but actually at undergraduate level as well. So I would always say the best thing to do is get your application early, because you've got then much more time to apply for scholarships, accommodation, which the deadline opens in April, it closes in June. But also you've just got that peace of mind knowing the course isn't going to close soon. So if you know which course you want to apply for, I would definitely wholeheartedly say go out and apply when the application window opens. And just to let you know, the application window will open in the second week of September this year if you're looking ahead to 2023. So I'd say if you apply September, October time, but actually all the way to January is okay. But after then, there is a bit more of a danger that courses might close.
Thanks, James. The next question: is accommodation guaranteed? How much do students typically pay in rent?
So accommodation is guaranteed provided that you meet some set criteria. Basically, if you're coming to the UK for the first time on a postgrad course, let's say, then it is guaranteed as long as you apply by the guaranteed window, the guaranteed deadline, which this year was 16th of June, yesterday, but next year is probably around mid-June again. So as long as you get your application for accommodation by then, you must have an offer and have accepted your offer before you can apply for accommodation. It will be a guaranteed room managed by the university that you will be able to access. In terms of the cost of rent, it does depend on your option that you choose. I believe, top of my head, although I would want to check this at a later stage, it probably varies between around 130, 40 pounds a week up to about 280 pounds a week for the university accommodation, including everything like Wi-Fi, all bills, and so on. But yeah, for private accommodation, it probably does depend. Saurav, I know you're staying in private accommodation, so would say roughly about 400, 500 pounds a month, something like that, not including bills.
Yeah. It depends on the area. So if you're taking a private accommodation in the city center, it would be definitely more than 500 or 600 pounds. But like I'm staying in an area which is close to university and little further from city center, where it's about 400 to 500 pounds a month without bills.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks. The next question. How far ahead of time should a student begin working on his or her college application?
So similar to the last one. So I would say early the better, but don't rush it if you're not ready. So between September and January, I would say probably optimum. After then, some courses will close, but don't feel like you've missed the boat if you aren't ready until, say, March, April next year. You've still got time, but it just adds a little bit of extra pressure, and that are higher risks of course closures. So I would always say to students, September to January if you can, but don't panic too much if it's March, April, May. We can still accept applications all the way up until the end of June, early July.
Thanks, James. The next question. Can you please explain the International Foundation year?
Just generally. So if you want to do International Foundation year, it's normally if you can't or haven't quite achieved the requirement in your 12 standard. There is the Indian requirement on the International Foundation year webpage where you can see the entry requirements for Indian students with 12 standard grades. So do check that out. What normally happens is you'll do your first year in the foundation year in the city centre, which takes place at our at Bath College. So it's a college that we've partnered with to run the IFY program. During that year, you will, if you wish, stay in university accommodation, and as provided that you pass that year, around 80%, 85% of students will pass it, then you are guaranteed a place on your desired undergraduate course. So the foundation years are students who want to go into undergraduate level programs but haven't quite got the grade they need to go directly onto the course. So yes, that's kind of just an outline, I suppose, of the IFY, the International Foundation year.
Thank you, James. The next question. Can you please, okay, this one is covered. The next question is, how do you select application? What aspects do you look into an application?
Yeah, so when looking at application, again, it really does depend on the course. So do look at the course carefully. Every course page will have the entry requirements for Indian students. So do look at that as a drop down. You can click India to see exactly what they're looking for. And that will give you a real kind of idea about what they're looking for the admissions office when they go to read your application. Do spend a lot of time on your personal statement in particular, because that is a really vital document in the decision-making process. Normally it will be viewed by more than one, maybe two or even three people within the admissions office, maybe the academic team as well. So do take time on that. Do you really want to outline your passion for the area you're interested in? Your rationale for choosing the course. So if you can be specific, the more specific, the better. So maybe even naming units that you're interested in. Perhaps you know the professors on the program, or it's been recommended by a friend, whatever it might be. What's the reason you've chosen to do this course at Bath? And then also kind of highlighting as well your kind of what you want to do afterwards. The admissions office like to see people who are determined, who are focused, but also have kind of at least some indication of where they want to take the degree afterwards. So they want someone who's kind of focused on that as well. So you can always outline what you plan to do in your next steps after graduating in your personal statement as well. Academic grades, we're looking for normally a first class degree at postgrad level. For 12th standard, for undergraduate, you will have to look on each course page because it does vary quite a lot depending on the department. But for postgrad level, it's a bit easier. It's first class really for most courses from a recognised university, and then English 6.5 or 7.0 overall if you can't meet the English 3 as well, standard English grade.
Thanks, James. The next question. Is the Q&As only about data learning?
No. Any questions about it? It was by chance today we had 2 students who are data scientists, but that was just the way the cookie crumbled. Is any student. So like we mentioned, although we've only, the ambassadors, the panelists today have been data scientists, we do have courses. For example, most School of Management courses have that consultancy project you can do. So there's a real chance there for you to work with the company dealing with a real business challenge. If you want to do a course in, say, development, you can go and work with an NGO or charity for 3 months in your final semester. Again, engineering, there's an opportunity to do a 3-month paid placement as part of your course. So although today the ambassadors by chance have both been data scientists, there are other courses and there are loads of different opportunities for you to engage with companies, and you can ask questions on any course you like, any course you want.
Thank you, James. The next question. I applied for the September intake. However, I'm planning to start in January. Would it be possible to do that? Additionally, is there any difference between the September and the January intake?
There's a big difference. There is no January intake. So the big difference is that that is the only intake. So we're only open for applications September time. So if you were to defer, which just means to push back for the next window, it would be unfortunately all the way to September 2023.
Thank you. The next question. Does the university offer any support for people seeking off-campus accommodation and visa application?
Yes. So in terms of off-campus accommodation, there's plenty. Like if you went for university accommodation, one of the options is on campus. Most of it is in the city off campus. If you wanted to go for private accommodation off campus, you could do that. And we do have a team that can support you and can signpost you to useful links, useful pages for you to go ahead and look for private housing as well. So there are 2 different things there. One of them is off-campus university accommodation and an off-campus private accommodation. Either way, we can help you in different ways. There's different teams available there. In terms of visas, we have a student immigration service that are there to support you through the journey. So they're the ones who will send you a pre-CAS check, will send you your CAS number when you've got all your conditions met. And they can also give you guidance once you arrive at Bath. If you're looking for perhaps, for example, applying for your post-study work visa, they run workshops, but they can also meet you or speak with you one-to-one to offer you further guidance. So the answer to both of those is yes.
Thank you. The next question. Can my family join me after my master's program during my post-master's work experience?
In terms of on the post-study work visa?
Yeah, PSW.
I'm not 100% sure about that. Saurav?
Yeah, so I have some information, but please do not take my information as like standard points, but do check out with the immigration team. There was one particular clause that if you're by family, I hope you're meaning your spouse and children, because in UK you cannot really bring your parents for more than 6 months in 1 year, 1 period of time. 1 year period of time. So if your family, like spouse and children, is already in the UK before you apply for PSW, then I think they are still allowed in the PSW as spouse visa. They can still be here.
Okay, thank you, Saurav. I'm not sure really myself, so I would say really helpful, but do, as Saurav said, do go and look at the visa website, probably the best of all, the UKVI website, or speak to an immigration expert who'll be better placed to advise you on that.
Thank you, James and Saurav. The next question. September intake application, is it still going on for MBA?
Yeah, the application window for MBA is still open, so it is possible to still apply for the MBA for September time. Do get your application in sooner rather than later. But yes, as far as I'm aware, the application window is still open and they are accepting new applicants.
Thanks. The next question. There seems to be a lot of options for us for getting experience and expertise like challenges, volunteering, internships and practice track. Would PG student have time to do all of them in a year?
I'll answer, but then I'll bring you in, Saurav, too, to speak from your own experience. I would say what we highlighted today was a range of different opportunities across the university and across all the departments. I wouldn't say that all of them will be there for you in every course. It does depend on the program in question. And obviously you can't do all of them and do your program at the same time. So what we kind of highlighted today, kind of showcase, was the opportunities that are available across departments, across the faculties in the School of Management, but not for every single course, for every student to do all of the challenges, all of the placements. Because yeah, you're right, there wouldn't be much time left for your course. But the courses have been designed to allow, most courses have been designed to allow for students to engage with industry in different ways, in different capacities, but in a way that allows the students still, and you to still have enough time to obviously complete your course and to do that successfully. Saurav, from your own perspective, how have you managed to balance studies and also engaging with industry?
Yeah, so first of all, like few things like industry dissertation and things like that, those are part of the courses. So already separate amount of time is already been allocated for those things. And apart from that, extracurricular activities and volunteering, doing some part-time jobs. I mean, you will have to manage some time, and there is summer where you can really focus on developing your extracurricular activities and things like that. And there will be certain period of time where there will be not much of academics going on. During that time you can do that, and I did the same for myself, so I would recommend that highly.
Thank you, Saurav and James. The next question: is there any possibility or way out to get IELTS waiver for masters?
Yes, so hopefully that was made clear earlier, but you can get an IELTS waiver for masters if you meet the 12th standard English grade. So depending on the course you want to apply for, say let's go with masters, because I predict most students here will be masters or prospective master students. But at undergrad too, we can accept 12th standard in English. So for masters level, for pretty much all of the courses, as long as you get you received or you achieved 75% in English at 12th standard, and you graduated from your degree, your university, within 5 years. And the third thing is that your English was the medium of instruction throughout your studies. If all of those three things match up, we can offer you what sometimes is fashionably known in India as the IELTS waiver. We don't really call it that at Bath, but that means you can then not need to meet your English condition via an English proficiency test like the IELTS. We can accept 12th standard. Just another note about English, we do also accept other tests. So Duolingo, for example, which is an online test, we also accept. So there are other tests, not just IELTS. So don't feel like if you can't meet the English condition with your 12th standard, you have to do the IELTS. We actually have 11 different tests available for you to choose from.
Thank you, James. The next question: I graduated since 2003. Will it affect my chances for a master's program application?
2003, it depends on the master's. So most courses, except for the business school MSc courses, do not have a, I guess they don't have let's say a focus or a cap on work experience. So School of Management MSc courses do have between a 3 and 5 year experience cap. So if you've got more than 5 years of relevant business experience related to the course, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to get onto that program. But for most other courses, there's no sort of limit. So that, yes, basically, depending on the course, you should be able to find a program that you can apply for with an undergraduate course that you complete in 2003.
We have covered all the questions from the chat box. Many thanks, James and Saurav, for answering all the questions so well and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. We are now moving towards the end of this seminar. I would request if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, okay. So I was on mute, sorry. So we have covered all the questions from the chat box. Many thanks for answering all the questions so well and sharing your knowledge with us, Saurav and James. We are now moving towards the end of this seminar. I would request if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now.
Yeah, no, just to say thank you for watching today, for your engaging questions and for being engaged. Just to let you know, we're about to launch, or we just launched actually yesterday, the Indian Insight series. So we run this essentially the University of Bath series, where we have lots of interesting, engaging panelists like Saurav, who you can see here on the screen, joining us each Thursday to talk about different topics. So if you want to hear from a range of different students, not just data science like it was today, but business students, humanities students, and so on, every Thursday all the way till August, we're running the Indian Insight series. So you can join us for that if you wish. Do check it out on our website, and we hope to see you there as well. But thank you, Deepika, for having us today. It's been a pleasure, as always. And Saurav, again, a pleasure to have you on the panel once again today. Looking forward to seeing you at the Indian Insight series coming up next week. But for now, everyone else, thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure. And any more questions at all, speak to your SIUK counsellor, who is going to be an expert all things Bath, or reach out to us directly via the webpage. Until then, thank you and have a lovely weekend ahead.
Thank you so much for your kind words, James. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Thanks, everyone.